Welcome to this episode on data visualization, part of a series of short films supporting courses I teach in data science and artificial intelligence. You can find more by following me on LinkedIn or as @Binocularity on Twitter. Thank you for watching. This episode is about geographic data and how to merge numerical data and geographic data. And we're going to look at the use of geographic coding and latitude and longitude with the IMD data we saw earlier. So, geographic data. We're going to look at two main topics. How to look at the numerical slicer, no longer a preview feature, I think now a full feature in Power BI, and the geographic data visualizations, and particularly the map visual. There's a lot of map tools available for Power BI. We're just going to look at the standard one, but you can also link into an ArcGIS plugin if you have an ArcGIS login. Now I'm going to switch to loading in datasets, the IMD dataset for the Northeast, and that's in the Northeast Domains of Deprivation, XLS file, an Excel file, and then a CSV file, which I'll load in separately, and this contains the longitude and latitude, so the center point in effect of all of the LSOAs that we looked at in the last section. So LSOAs being the lower super output areas, the areas of about 1,500 people in the UK, the lowest area of statistical geographic measurement that we use. So let's switch to Power BI and we'll get going with that. So here's the Power BI. So first of all, I'm going to load in the Excel spreadsheet that we need. This is in folder 11, geographic data, in the data folder, and you should see the Northeast Domains of Deprivation spreadsheet there. Select sheet 1, load in the data. And now we'll get CSV data. Notice that it's different from a spreadsheet, even though it is a spreadsheet. And if you look for CSV files, you'll see the LSOA 2011 coordinate file there. And you'll see in there it's got the LSOA code and name, the BNG, and the longitude and latitude. We'll come back to those in a second. So we've loaded the two data sets in. If you go into the spreadsheet view, you can see the LSOA dataset has got LSOA code and name. It's got longitude and latitude, a center point, and it's also got the same center point in the BNG, the British National Grid coordinates. We'll not need those. And if we go into the second sheet, you'll see code and name for LSOAs, the local authority district code and name, and then all of the ranking data for the different indexes of deprivation. So what we really want to do is join these two together so that for each row in the IMD data, we also get its location, longitude and latitude. And we will do it with a transform data query. But if you look in the third of these, which we haven't looked at so far, this will show any existing relationships between the data sets, and later on we'll come back to this and you'll see how that's changed. Okay, so straight to the transform data. So in here on the first page, make sure you've selected sheet 1 and you'll see merge queries. We click on merge queries and it'll allow us to do a join between two spreadsheets based on their fields, and this is the same as a database join if you're familiar with SQL. So we've got sheet 1 here. On this column we want to choose LSOA. We'll select the code and it'll match with the CD column, which is the shortened name of code in the second spreadsheet. And we will click OK. And this will give us a new table here, which we can expand to see what's in it. And we can choose which columns we want. So we don't need to pull in the code or the name because we already have those, and we don't need the British National Grid coordinates. We're just going to pull in longitude and latitude. If it repeats a name in the original spreadsheet, you can use this to add a prefix to the column name to identify it, but we don't need that because these are unique columns. And we click OK, and it'll expand out and bring in the two new columns. So now we've got our spreadsheet, and for every code we have on the far side the matching longitude and latitude. So that gives us enough to start to do some mapping. So we want to apply that change, close and apply it, and we'll just wait for the change to transfer across. So now if I open LSOA, you'll see that's the same as before. If I open the sheet with the IMD data in it, you'll see it is the same as before, but we've now got latitude and longitude in there too. And I mentioned the relationships. If you click in here, you'll now see there's a data model formed, and it says what's the link between the tables, and it's a one-to-one match, and it's actually between code and code. There. Scroll down. If I highlight it there, you can see the match that's happened. Okay, so there's several maps here. There is a shape map, a filled map, and just a map. And the just a map is the one we want. Let's put that over on the right. And there's lots of fields we can add. So let's add in latitude on the latitude field, and longitude on the longitude field. And you'll see immediately we get a plot of all the LSOA regions in the north of England. So that's from Berwick right down to Middlesbrough, the northeast of England. Possibly that's too many. So we can also add extra information here. And one thing we'll do is find the local authority name. We'll click local authority name, and it'll be added as part of the legend. So now we're colouring all of the local authorities distinctly by their local authority name. So you'll be able to see different local authorities. Two things we'll do to the map. One, we're going to remove the key because the legend is taking up space and we can't see it all anyway. And secondly, we'll put a slicer in here. So we'll add a slicer, a bit too big there, and we'll do that on local authority name. So that gives us a list of the local authorities in the northeast of England, and if we want to choose one of them, for example, let's do Newcastle, it'll highlight just the LSOA regions within Newcastle. So we'll also add alongside this a slicer on IMD. So this is a slicer on IMD rank. So now, as well as choosing a local authority, we can slice through this. We can look at the least deprived regions of the local authority and the most deprived regions of the local authority. And you'll see, interestingly enough, in Newcastle, they're almost a mirror image. So the most deprived regions are here. And if you pull out all of the least deprived regions, a lot of them are here around Jesmond and Gosforth. So if we fill in a scatter chart, we can put one, I think we'll fit one in here. There's plenty of space. Now we can do X and Y axis as before. So if we set up index of rank on the X axis and income rank on the Y axis and LSOA code on details. So now we can switch between local authorities. Oh, and we should also add local authority name on legend. And now hide the legend again. Okay. So if you remember the scatter plot before, we've got a IMD versus income rank, and you'll see in Sunderland very strong linear relationship between IMD rank and income. But now we can start to slice both of these with this slicer. So we can look in Sunderland just at the upper end of that scale and see where in the region the least deprived areas are. We can zoom down, include the most deprived areas, zoom down again, and go down to the far end. Now, you might want to adjust various things here. We'll adjust the axes. Y-axis, we'll have it going from 0 always up to 33,000, which is about the maximum. And also, as it happens, identical for the x-axis in this case because they're both on rank. We've colored this by local authority, but you could also color it by rank rather than local authority. So let's do that. We'll do it by deprivation rank. So now the slices through this are various ranks of this, and we can do the same on here. Do the same to the map. Okay, well, I hope that's shown you some of the things that you can do with maps. So remember that what we did in the beginning was to join together geographic data and IMD data. These were two separate databases coming from completely different sources, but both had a common link in them in that they had this LSOA code in them. And once you've got that, you can start to do database style joins between spreadsheets. Then we plot them on the map, and we use different slicers to be able to slice through the dataset.